Hello everyone, during this video I'm going to be taking you through how we can use Microsoft Forms to really enhance our assessment for learning during remote teaching opportunities, and also how we can use it to assess student data and deliver feedback and Green for Growth activities moving forward. So if any of you are unfamiliar with using Microsoft Forms is basically a way where we can set up quizzes that students can access and put answers in multiple different formats, and then we can use the data to see what students understand and respond to. I've used it many a time for CPD this year and in lockdown last year, so it's a really useful tool we can use in multiple different ways. But of course, today we're going to focus on how we can use it in our remote learning offer. So if you need to know how to get onto Microsoft Forms, you just go to SharePoint, click on your app finder at the top, and then you would just click on Forms, and it will take you to a screen similar to this one here. Obviously, it wouldn't look identical because this is full of forms that I've used before, but it looks something like this. So I'm going to take you through the basics first of all, and then as we move through the CPD video, I'll take you through more advanced options that you can use for your CPD. So if you want to start a new quiz, you just press this new quiz button on the top left, and a completely blank form will come up. Now, the really good thing about this is once you've set up your quiz, if there was a mistake on it, you can go back in and edit it and then reshare it with the students, and they can just get the changed version. You don't have to start again like you would on SurveyMonkey or anything like that. So you can come up with a title for your quiz. So I'm just going to call this Basics CPD. And if you wanted to there, you could add a description. I'm just going to put taking you through the basics. So once you've done that, you would then click to add new. Now you can add a question as a multiple choice question. It could be a text, it could be a rating or anything like that. There's also some more options here. You can upload files or leave a space for people to upload files that you could see. So if you wanted students to upload files on Microsoft Forms rather than on class charts, there's an option to do that. And there's also an option here for a new section, which we'll come back to later, but just to remember that's there. So for example, if I wanted to make a question that was a multiple choice question, I would just click the choice option, and then it would come up. So I'd type in my question there, for example, what is your name? And then you might come up with some options. So you might put Bob, Tim. And then if you wanted to add a new option there, Paul, these are just very generic names, and then they could click on what they think their name is. Then if there was a specific correct answer you wanted, you could then just click the tick next to that, and then when students submit their answer, they'll be able to find out if they got it correct or not. There's also options to add comments. So for example, if people select that answer, you might want to put some comments. This is really good if you want to help people out. So say if a student picked a particular answer and it represented a particular misconception they had, you might put in a comment there, remember your name is not Bob, it is Tim, for example, and that might then trigger some support there. And you can also delete options and edit it. If you want to make sure students definitely answer that question and you don't want them to miss it out, you can just click on the required there, and that means they have to answer that question before they can move on, and then you can delete the question again there. So once you've finished and you've added all your questions and so on, you could choose to change the themes. So you can choose to change the different colour backgrounds. There's a nice green one there, and then you can also choose to share it. So to share the quiz, you would just go to the share button, and then you can see there that there's a link. So you can just copy and paste that link into your Microsoft Teams live lesson, and then students can click on that and go to the quiz. Or if you were doing it in your sort of pre-planned remote learning that you upload into class charts, then you can upload it onto that upload option as well. Also, an important thing to say is if students are not logged in on their White Rose Academy's account, they won't be able to access the Microsoft Forms. So one thing you might want to do is change in the settings. So with the three dots here in settings, you might want to change it so anyone can respond. And that just means that obviously anyone can respond. So a lot of my year 11s, when I've used this week, struggle with that. So I've had to change the settings for them. So back to forms then. So I'm going to show you now a way you might want to use this, because obviously I understand that not all subjects lend themselves to multiple choice questions very easily. So for example, you could use this in English as a really good way to assess understanding. So say for example, you'd explain to students what to do on your done a I do model as part of your live lesson. You then might want to do a we do. So you might set up an English example where students complete some text on there, and then they might submit that. You can give them some feedback live and you can help them with certain things, and then they might then go and do something independently as a we do. So this is quite a good way to get some live feedback. So if I'll just show you quickly what that live feedback looks like. So if I go to my one I've done before, so this is a starter I did with year 11. So you can see here that I've got lots of different questions. You can see that I've ticked the right answer. Obviously the students can't see that. There's a mixture of text and multiple choice. And now when I click on responses, I've had 10 people respond, and I can see what they got correct and incorrect. So here you can see in question 1, the majority, bar 1, of those 10 students got that question right. So what I was able to do is quickly react to that in the live lesson and go through the common misconception which might have led a student to get the number 11 on that question, and so on. So I could kind of go through all these questions and respond appropriately in the lesson, which was really useful. So I'm going to move on to a more sophisticated example now, which is using, let's go to the right one, using branching. So this is an additional option on Microsoft Forms, sorry, that you could use to differentiate live in the lesson, because obviously when you're delivering a lesson live and you want to give different activities, you can't always fit it on the same screen. So you could use this to differentiate live in the lesson. So you might decide that you're going to have 3 levels of worksheet in your lesson. So level 1, level 2 and level 3. So you might set that up as a multiple choice question, and you're asking students to identify the level they want to work at, and that might be directed by you in the lesson what they're going to work at. Now what you then need to do is you need to create new sections using that new section tool I showed you right at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So for example, I've got section 2 there, and that's got my level 1 worksheet on it. Section 3 there, that's got my level 2 worksheet. And then I'm going to create a new section just to show you how to do that, which is going to have my level 3 worksheet on it. So I would go to new section, type in level 3, and then I would upload an image of a worksheet. So I'm going to go on image, upload, and then I can pick on a particular worksheet. So I'm going to pick level 3 there. The worksheet comes up, and then what you can also do is you could play with the size of that worksheet. And then what I could do if I wanted to, I could add some extra questions underneath if I wanted students to input their answers on forms, or I could just say write this and then upload the work you do, your written work, onto ClassCharts. So that's then there. Now the key thing is obviously we don't want students to have to go through all those worksheets to get to the last one. So this is where the branching comes in. Now if you click on the question that you've written right at the start, and you click on the 3 dots, you can click on add branching. And what this does is this brings up some menus next to each level. So if students click on level 1, then I'm going to say I want them to go straight to the level 1 worksheet when they click next. Level 2, they can go straight to section 3, which I know is where the level 2 worksheet is. And then obviously for level 3, they're going to go to level 3 worksheet. So if you click back, those settings have then instilled themselves into there. So I'm going to give you an example now. So if I press preview, I can see how that's going to work. So if I press level 3 and click next, that takes me straight to that level 3 worksheet that I wanted it to take me to. So perfect, that's how you could use branching. Now this got me thinking about another way we could use branching. So this is quite sophisticated and might be really good for, say, one lesson a week. So like red zone would be really good to link your red zone to then a Green for Growth question, depending on what answer they put for their red zone, because it would take quite a while to build up. So I wouldn't recommend this for every lesson, because it did take me a little while to set this up. So for example here, I've put a hinge point question. So I've got a question with 4 different answers that I want students to understand. Now, A is the correct answer, so I've set that up there. But if students put question B, C or D, it means that they've not acquired a particular skill, or they've got a particular misconception that they need to look at sorting out. So what I've done here is, again, I've added some branching options, so that if they click on B, it might take them to a particular different skill to practice as a Green for Growth task. So I'll show you this. So for example, if I click on B and click next, that means I'm struggling with this particular math skill, so it takes me straight to a Green for Growth task. If we try a different one, so if I click A, which is the correct answer, that means I've got this skill, so that's going to take me to a more challenging task. So that's another way you can use branching to support your planning and to support differentiation and the needs of students. So I think this would be a really nice thing to use with a red zone, for example. So if you have a student who, you might have a multiple choice set of questions, you might have the first one that's correct, and they might pick one of the other 3. If they pick one of the other 3, it might take them then straight to a Green for Growth task to work on. So it's kind of like a live red zone rather than something that you would then mark and then go back to. It's live marking it for them and giving that feedback straight away. So it's quite a sophisticated but useful way to use this. So I hope you found that sort of tutorial really useful. As I've seen this in live lessons, it's worked really, really well and allowed teachers to quickly respond to misconceptions. So I'd thoroughly recommend that you try this, or you drop into a live lesson when someone's using it before you do so, because that would be really useful. If you've got any more questions on this, please feel free to email me. And other than that, I hope you have a really good day.